All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to give everybody a few seconds to join. People file into the room. We'll get started here shortly. All right, looks like we got everybody on today. Good afternoon. My name is Josh, software support engineer for MzeroManage and the integration thereof into the Personnel Management Kiosk. It's Wednesday, October 28th. It's 4 p.m. Eastern, and you're tuned in to the webinar. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're discussing MzeroManage, which is the cloud software that integrates with the Personnel Management Kiosk. For those of you who are not familiar with the PMK, or the Personnel Management Kiosk, hereto referred to as the PMK, go over a little bit about the device. So this is a temperature taking device. It does have the option to use facial recognition should you want to use facial recognition and put profiles of your students, staff, faculty members, etc. Depending on your organizational needs, you are able to do so. The device does take a temperature. It takes a picture and a log of that temperature in that event, and it captures that record. So when a user approaches the unit, it will take a temperature reading. It will capture that user's image, whether it's facial recognition or whether it's just running as a what we like to refer to as guest mode. And then it will timestamp that record, and it will save it on the device. A couple different options here for the kiosk configuration. So we do have our pedestal mount, which is a pretty good for the average adult height to walk up to it and scan. It's fitted to this nice powder-coated base, and then the head unit up top. There are a couple variations on this model. There is a child height, which is a shortened pedestal stand. This is perfect for educational facilities, daycares. I've even heard great things from a few of our healthcare customers who have senior living facilities or senior day centers or people who might be in a wheelchair or mobility scooter. This apparently is a great height for individuals to roll up to in a wheelchair and scan in, a lot better than the full size. So child height, perfect for wheelchair, and if you have a senior center or someone who might be a little vertically challenged or a little shorter, great. The original pedestal version with an LED. So this has an extra feature of we'll call it a ring, even though it's a semicircle. But this ring right here around the base of the headstand attachment area, that will illuminate upon scans. Now, I will note that the green is a good scan. Red would be an elevated temperature. However, you can set that option to only be a white monochromatic light. So it will only be a white light if privacy is more your concern. We do have a countertop version. If this unit needs to walk around a lot and go between different buildings, or you plan on putting it in different spots, great for reception desks, great for a tabletop configuration in an office. And it's a lot lighter than the 35, 40-pound full-size pedestal version. And then last but not least, we do have a nice wall mountable version. So this has a bracket for mounting it to a wall. If space-saving form factor is what you're after, wall mount your PMK. So that is available. All right, so I talked about the PMK being a temperature taking device. It takes a picture, it records that log set, and it stores it on the device. So let's pretend you've got 20 of these in your facility. If you want to pull the pass records for the entire day, it's 20 trips around your campus that you're making and having to remove the head unit, place a USB drive into the pigtail connectors, and then actually extract that data off the device. And you've got 20 different file sets that you have to merge. Not to mention, if there's a setting change that you need to do on the fly, you're hopping on the golf cart or you're trucking around campus and you're making these changes one by one each stop, having to do something, having to interact with it. Now, I wouldn't want to do that. If I was in your shoes, I for sure would not want to make 20 separate trips around, 20 trips around campus doing the same thing 20 different times. Thus, MzeroManage. So what does MzeroManage do? So MzeroManage is designed to integrate specifically with the Personnel Management Kiosk. Features cloud storage. It gives you one central portal and one centralized location to be able to view scans, pull logs, add employees for their facial recognition, change settings, and reboot the device. It is bird in the hands worth two in the bush. This gives you control over these units. You click it once, set it once, all 20 are updated. You could have 5, you could have 15. Even with 2 units, this is going to make life easier. Even with 1 unit, you can set it up in your entryway, and then all you're doing is logging into a computer to pull that information. You don't even have to touch the device after that. So we talked about features of it taking temperatures and facial recognition and those scans. So it does have the ability, if you choose to do so, it does have the ability to have your employees or your students or your visitors, whomever you need to have a secure record set of saying they for sure came in and scanned. MzeroManage in conjunction with the PMK gives you that ability. So you're able to upload or edit or add a list of employees with a profile picture. You can put some information about them, their name, department they're in, etc. It gives you some ability to customize some of the features when you're doing an upload. But when the user approaches the kiosk and has their temperature taken, it will identify them, and then you have a log. You know Tim came in at 7:55 in the morning. Oh, he's early to work. He's got his temperature. He's scanned in. He's good. Go ahead, sit down, start working. That's perfect. That's what we want. So yes, for sure, it logs temperatures. And I will stop right there for a second. Now, some individuals in some organizations might be concerned about having a numerical value of it actually tying Tim to a temperature of 97.9 or 98.6. That might be considered, ooh, we don't want that. There is an option using the MzeroManage cloud software. There is an option for you to be able to suppress that numerical value. What does that mean? It means we're going to throw the temperature out the window, and it's just going to say pass or fail. So if an individual passes, they're under the threshold on the device that you've set. We're going to go with the CDC standard of 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So if someone passes, you can guarantee that they were under 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit at the time of scan. If they fail, they have a fail scan for a high temperature, you're going to know that it was above 100.4 degrees. And then within your organization and however your health or your human resources department is saying you need to handle situations like that, then you can know that they've had an elevated temperature above a threshold, and you can begin to ensure the safety of your staff, your faculty, and your coworkers. Jumping off that point, sending an alert. So you have the ability to subscribe to an email alert. If an individual scans at your temperature kiosk and their temperature is above the threshold that you've set on your device, you can receive an alert. You, other members of your team, a distribution group, we get a question about SMS or text messaging. If you have a email to text messaging forwarder, yes. Some carriers will offer, I think like AT&T, you can do the phone number at AT&T.com or something like that. There's different ways to send a text message, but it is email based. So if you have an email to text message forwarder, go ahead and let you know now that is a possibility with a few workarounds. But you get an email alert when there's a temperature above that threshold. You'll be alerted to the time, the location of that kiosk, and then you can check the dashboard and see who actually failed, see who you need to intervene with if they have not already self-isolated due to that elevated temperature scan. I mentioned before, retrieving reports from the device. You can have one central location to go through those reports. I will do a demo here shortly, so you guys can see that in real time. So sit back and relax, we're getting to it. You can determine whether or not a kiosk is online or when the last time it connected and phoned home to a server. I mentioned, of course, before changing some in-app settings and configurations. The dashboard portal, we're going to show you that here in a second. Let's say you've got multiple. This is Josh's transmission shop, and I've got a couple spots through North Carolina, and I really don't need people in my Aberdeen location to see what scans are occurring in my downtown Raleigh location. So we can group our kiosks and manage permissions for additional users as such. So my Raleigh people are going to see my Raleigh scans, and my Aberdeen, North Carolina people are only going to see their Aberdeen, North Carolina scans, and make changes to those devices. So grouping kiosks and changing permission sets per groups, all handled by MzeroManage in the cloud software. Last but not least, the ability to turn off local storage on the device. Believe it or not, in real-time support standards, we do get questions about, or I guess more or less a request saying, hey, I can't have storage on my device. I need to get rid of it. I can't have pictures on this Android tablet. I can't have pictures on this PMK. I can't have it on a physical device. Well, rest assured, there is an option for you to essentially transmit those scans, those pictures, those records, those events, those instances of temperature taking to the cloud, and boom, put them up in the cloud and erase it from the device. It will actually determine whether or not there is a successful upload, and then it will get it off the device. It will delete it. You will not have to worry about it on the physical device. All right, so now we're going to talk about the facial recognition side of things. And I just want you to take a look at the gentleman on the right side of the screen. Just take a good hard look at that photo. That is what we call passport style photo, as we refer to here internally, or you might have heard, you need to get my passport photo taken. If you've ever done photography, you're going to be familiar with the rule of thirds. So I just want to point out a couple things here. This is what we need for a premium profile photo. When you're adding users to your facial database for facial recognition, the better the photo that we can feed the algorithm, the more accurate, the faster, and the more reliable your facial recognition scans are going to be. So when it comes down to it, the better the photo you can provide for that database, the better results you're going to have. Now, there's some settings and some things that we can get into on the nitty gritty, but for the most part, get a good picture, eyes straight, middle third of the photo, eyes, nose, see the cheek. I can see from ear to ear. I can see from the top of the head to the chin. I can see the neck, and even a little bit of shoulder profile is fine. But this is the type of model we want to see. This is exactly what you want. Even size-wise, 700 pixels or so by about 1100 pixels tall. So 1100 by 700 pixels. That's a perfectly fine example of a photo. This is I'm talking about the bulk upload. So there is a bulk upload feature if you have to add faces to the cloud. What that is it gives you the ability to create a CSV, so you can actually gather 100, 200, 300, 1,000 different individuals into one database, one CSV file, and then you actually take pictures or take their pictures and then put them in a zip file. And it has to be JPEG, it has to be PNG, but essentially, without getting into the exact details, you can upload a CSV file with the name, the email address, and some personnel IDs, etc., along with the photographs of your employees, and then in one click, go ahead and get everybody uploaded to the cloud database. Image size, 500 kilobytes is about the size you really want to be under. It cannot exceed that. However, we don't need you to go out and buy a big, fancy, expensive DSLR camera. I've seen some excellent pictures taken with just the webcam, the front-facing webcam on laptops. I've seen them with the external little Logitech webcams. It doesn't matter as long as it looks like this. No landscape either. If you can do it in portrait mode, that's going to be the best. No larger than 4096 by 2600 pixels. Again, 700 pixels wide by about 1100 pixels tall is ample enough. If it fills the frame and is cropped as such, you really should not have a problem. Couple things to remind: no glamour photos. No, none of this. You'll face your shoulders here. You're looking over your shoulder. Your head's tilted to the side. No hands or the folded hands under the chin. It's got to be a straightforward looking photo, much like your government issued ID, your passport, driver's license, etc. Also, be mindful of the background. As simple as plain a background that you can get in your profile images, your profile pictures, the better. I would definitely not take this in front of a paisley print or a very colorful and fancy wallpaper. It's going to give the facial recognition algorithm a very hard time. Also, you don't want anybody to be in the background. You don't want a picture of multiple people, or even anything that might be construed to be a face or eyes. I would not take it in front of a poster with someone's face on it, for instance. Plain white, gray background is going to be your best bet. And then last but not least, the algorithm caps out at 20,000 individual faces. So as long as you don't have more than 20,000 users trying to scan in on one kiosk or one group of kiosks on an account, you should be fine. So we'll talk about, video startup. Maybe you're already a PMK user, you've had the standalone unit, you're just now realizing, or it's just now been told to you that, you can use this software. It's available. What does it do? How does it work, etc. We have an extensive video library and knowledge base full of articles, resources, diagrams, how-tos, frequently asked questions. It's all available for you to use. I do recommend you go to the main Meridian Kiosks website. I'll go there with you right now, and you're going to look at the top, and it's going to say temperature screening kiosk. So meridiankiosks.com. On the menu bar, temperature screening kiosk, check out the FAQs, check out the resources, and those will all have links, including webinars of times past. If you want to go back in time and look at maybe some previous questions or some previous answers that were provided for users, etc. So that all there on the Meridian website. So there's two portals when you use the MZero software. There's the administrative portal, or we call the MzeroManage Server. This is where you're going to spend maybe 10% of your time. And initially, it's going to be during setup. It's where you're going to spend most of your time getting your kiosks added, creating your groups, and then essentially adding or subscribing to email alerts. And that's it. Those are like the three biggest things that you're going to do on this portal. Then we get to the MzeroManage View portal, where this is where the fun happens. And I'm going to actually give you guys a live demonstration. Let me change screens. Maybe I'll change screens if it will let me. All right. All right. So, and it always seems to capture our photos when we have the most either the goofiest, or it caught me almost sneezing yesterday. So this is my dashboard. This is what you're going to see as users scan in, as users use the device. This is your live imaging. This is where the images come through from the device. So as I'm talking to you right now, I'm going to scan in. I just scanned in on my kiosk that's sitting here next to me. And so what we're going to do is we're going to watch it update. So it's going to update here. And I'm going to see, it always captures me at the worst time. It does not like me. I'm not a very photogenic person, apparently. But here you can see it read my temperature. You see my big headset and my big head right there. But essentially that scan has come in, and you can see where we're testing failures. I'm looking away from the unit, things like that. So this is where my live scans come in. This is when I have a scan, when I have a failure. Let me see if I can't even get. I can do a failure. I got a really hot monitor behind me. Abnormal temperature. All right. Oh, and there you go. There's an example of our Chrome desktop announcement or alert. So if I click this alert, it's going to take me right to the ugly picture of my face where I scanned in and I had a failure. So it's definitely a sensitive device because I've got a big flat screen monitor over my shoulder, and if I don't fill my head in the frame, it will actually be able to see the screen and be able to read the temperature and the heat waves coming off of it. So that's our dashboard. Scans come in, they populate here. I think you get 16 and then it starts to roll over. Well, what if I've got more than 16 people scanning at once? Entry report. This entry report will give me a little bit of information that I want to know. I can find my employee ID. I can search by that, 8675309. We all know what song that is. And then I can search by name. I can search by result. You know, that's great. I can scroll through here. I can see the goofy faces that we've made all day. There's another one. I don't even do this on purpose. It literally does not like me. But anyway, my entry report, I can go back. I can look at the week. I can look at the last 30 days. I can do a custom date range. And then I can export it as a CSV. So let's say I don't like this report. I want to have an Excel spreadsheet. I am a Excel junkie. I want to use Excel. I want to do custom reporting. Well, you can very quickly export this data as a CSV. And then from there, you can see what kiosk it was, the date, the time. I can see a temperature. I have my temperature values showing, FYI. This would be blank, but then this would tell me pass or fail. Mask, see if the mask, I don't use mask mode because it's faster. All this reporting details right here in a CSV format. So settings, I can actually change the settings on my devices. So if I really quickly want to say, oh, you know, let me change my company name, or I want to get the records off of my device, or I want to hide my temperature value. I can make these changes here and push them out to all devices that I have permission to interact with. Same thing with doing a company logo. We can do a company logo. Watchdog is the auto relauncher. If it detects the app crashes, it will automatically relaunch it. Is it too loud? Make it 1% volume. Lower the volume on all devices. Not loud enough? 100% volume. Let's crank it up. Let's have it be loud. And then lastly, you will never mess with callback configurations. That's there for server-side stuff. But as far as by temperature mask, I can come through here. I can change my compensation. Let's say you're in a drafty environment. It seems to be reading a couple of degrees low. I can change for that. I can compensate for that. I can turn on the automatic compensation, where the device will automatically try to calibrate itself to the environment that it's in. Different alarms, turning on fans if your unit has the thermal heat sink fan. I can do a temperature entry alarm, bunch of different alarms, stranger entry, stranger record. I can turn my mask settings on from here. I do get the ability to interact with some of the functions of the kiosk. So I can quickly check here and see, you know, where I'm at. Okay, when was the last time it connected? Like, ooh, 7:31. I'm gonna say there's something wrong with this unit. Or here, 9:25. I might need to go check the Wi-Fi or the power on that unit. Another interesting thing is I can actually go here and I can manually sync and force my face database to synchronize with the unit, with what's in the cloud. I can push that down to an individual unit. I don't have to worry about doing all of them, but I can do an individual unit. I can reboot the application on my unit, which would just refresh the application. It does not restart the device, just restarts the application. And if this is hooked up to your dry contact relay, you can actually click and get it to open the door. That's my sound effect for a relay opening. All right, and then so we talked about the face database. So I can actually go in here and I can bulk upload faces. This is our testing group, and some of us around here testing as we test the device. We use it every single day to test and to try and replicate problems that our customers see in the field here on the support side. But essentially, I can make a new employee. I could add, I could add Jimmy Bobby. He's 56. See, his email is 123 at mail.org. IC card would be for a integrated card system access control. Whole nother can of worms, but there are some features for that. That's where I'd recommend you reach out to your sales representative for information about some of those specific resources and features about the device. It's a whole lot of things that we could get into that we really can't do in 40 minutes. And then lastly, my VIP ID, which would be a personnel ID. Do you have an employee number? Things like that. That's kind of where we get that information from. And then I would choose a file, and then I would save it, I'd upload it, and then booyah, I've got an employee. Let's say I've already got somebody. Let's say Josh has changed his I guess for lack of better words, Josh has changed his email address. So I could come in here and I could just say, Josh at mailman.net. I don't need to change anything else. And I'm just going to save that record. Are you sure you want to update this record? Yes, I can update that record. And then boom, it has now pushed out to my device. So I've made that change, just push it out to all my devices. So let's say I've got 100, let's say I've got 200 people and I need to add them. Bulk upload. Again, this is where I mentioned you would have a spreadsheet, your CSV file. You would add your information for your employees, the names, etc. And then from there, you would actually be able to add your zip file with the images of those employees. And then you'd submit. Of course, it's going to tell me I don't have any files uploaded, but you'd submit and it would process that information. And it would read through the file, add their employee information, their record, and then it's going to use the personnel ID to essentially associate a photograph with a record set. So I mentioned we'd talk about bulk import a little bit earlier on. This is where I'm talking about it. The personnel ID, also known as, I can click right, also known as the VIP ID. If I have an image 8675309.jpg or .png, and I put my name is associated with this record, and my picture right here was named 8675309.jpg, then this image would be associated with this record automatically. I don't need to go to choose file. I don't need to do any of that. I can prepare my data set ahead of time, and then I can push that out. So one last time, we'll just show you the dashboard. I'm going to try and take a little better picture. If I can get my kiosk turned around here. Let's see. All right, and so I'm just taking a picture, and then boom, right here. And I look scared, but I'm not. So like I said, just ignore the fact that that's a horrible picture of me. But boom, it's taking my picture, it's put it right on the dashboard. If I don't turn the kiosk around, it's going to keep reading my face here at my seat, and it won't be quiet. All right, so we're going to jump back in here. So that was the MzeroManage View. You guys were lucky. Not every day that we get to go through a live walkthrough of that, and you get to see my goofy face scanning. But you know what? You guys were lucky today, and you got to see it. So welcome to the club. All right, so that was the personnel.meridiankiosk.com. This is the MzeroManage View. This is our other portal. I call it the black and green because it's the black background with the green manage. And then this is our blue and white. A couple people that I've interacted with, some customers, they've actually started calling it black and green and blue and white. And we know exactly what you're talking about when we reference these particular portals. So quick reminder, administrative tasks, 10-15% of your interaction is going to occur here. This is the user-friendly, forward-facing portal. Most of your scans, everything that you're really going to need for day-to-day functioning is going to take place here. So onboarding and support packages. What is an onboarding package? What are support packages? So the couple different things here. So we do offer a 20-minute training session. Now this is more marketed toward the standalone users, the users who are just using the temperature kiosk, no software. Goes through some settings, some features, how to align kind of standard operating procedures as you use the kiosk. Let me pull up my sheet here. So then we do have a private webinar. If you and your team reach out to your sales representative, if you already got one, if you're already talking to one, if you're curious about getting signed up with the software, we do have a private webinar, which is pretty similar to the webinar you're on today. However, it's a 20-minute session where I specifically go through the functionality in detail, and it's custom tailored to your questions. Then we have the onboarding package. So the onboarding package is recommended for most new users of the PMK, and specifically for new users of the PMK with their integration to MzeroManage. It essentially gives you a walkthrough to confirm that you've set up the device correctly. If you have a couple issues doing some updates, if you just need a little bit extra attention when it comes to getting your device set up, or you want to spend that hour going through, hey, what does this setting do? What do you recommend I set this to? That's what that onboarding package is for. So if you're purchasing the licenses for your PMKs, ask your sales representative, whether you're going through one of our distribution partners or you're doing it through Meridian directly, ask them about the training and the onboarding packages. That a lot of users who go through that program open up less tickets on the support side because they have better knowledge on how to interact with the device, and they get that one-on-one training. And you and a couple of your teammates, your team members can join one of those onboarding sessions, not a problem. So we'll talk about the PMK service and support packages. So you get a premium, premium plus, and a PMK Select. PMK Select, it is offering the online and email and phone support. That gives you the 60 minutes per unit that you buy a support package for, 60 minutes of after-hour support. That's all weekdays, excluding weekends and holidays, and that includes return ground shipping on RMAs. That would be a return merchandise, or if you have an issue, someone, Timmy kicked over the kiosk and shattered the screen again, or, hey, we had a power surge, or, somebody decided to dump it in a bucket of water, return ground shipping. Then you got the PMK Premium, which is the same online, email, hotline, phone support, but you get 120 minutes of support. So if you call up and it takes 5 minutes to fix your problem, you got 115 minutes left on that device. That's after hours support all year except weekends and holidays. That too includes return ground shipping. Then there's the Super Ultra Plus, Super Ultra Plus Premium Plus, as we call it. But no, that is the all-encompassing that gives you the online, the email, the hotline, phone support. You get 120 minutes of after-hour support, which includes holidays, nights, and weekends. You also get 2-day shipping. So if you're across the country, if you're coming from North Carolina to Alaska, you're going to get 2-day shipping if there's a return. And you're guaranteed a 48-hour head unit replacement. So that means as soon as we can get one shipped out to you, if you call up within 48 hours, you're getting one sent. And that does include one on-site tech visit. So that is a pretty good bargain, considering most tech visits are anywhere from $200 to $300 bench fee, meaning it just to show up. So that's a great bonus for that Premium Plus. All right, so I'm going to give it a second for some questions to come through. It's time you gotta ask any questions. You need me to go over anything specifically. I'm gonna give a few seconds for you guys to type. I'm just gonna put myself on mute, take a sip of water, and then I'll start answering some questions. All right, so we got a couple questions already. Can the CSV export columns be customized? As it sits, no. However, once you've downloaded that CSV, you can manipulate that document to your liking. I just actually put in a suggestion, I want to say it was last week, a customer-based suggestion, and I did enter that into the development queue and suggested that to our development team for there to be some additional columns or even possibly a user definable column. So if you wanted a specific value to be recorded both in the employee data and on the exported scan list, that CSV I showed you, that is on the sprint to be developed and be added into the system. So that was a proposed feature, and it has been accepted. And then there will be a feature created for that. Let's see, got another question. Is there a photo pre-processor which will analyze and compress the photos for the recognition process or for best recognition success? Perfect question. A pre-processor, no, but you can get user feedback on uploaded photos. So let's say you uploaded, all 30 of your employees. There is a couple reports that you can actually go to check and see if the kiosk has accepted the photograph. So the facial data algorithm actually takes place, all the math, all the heavy lifting takes place on the personnel management kiosk itself. So if you send down a photograph to the device for let's say John's photo, you send John's photo down to the device, perfect. You can check that report and make sure it accepted it. It might say something like face not detected. And then you look at the photo and he's squinting or there's a hat covering 2/3 of his face. So that report is available once the kiosk has attempted to process the photograph. How can we set up a text alert when a person fails? Perfect question. So there's no direct SMS support, meaning simple messaging service. There's no direct from email to a text message to your phone. You couldn't put in a 10-digit area code and the rest of the 7 digits. However, some carriers, some mobile carriers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, do have a email address associated with a phone number. For instance, I know I mentioned earlier Verizon, I think it's the 10-digit phone number at vtext.com, and that will actually send a text message to the phone associated with that number preceding the at symbol. That being said, there are several third-party email forwarding services that will forward an email to a text message. So there's a little bit of legwork involved, but it can be done. Let's see. Oh, can you send us more information about your support packages? Yes, I can. I will copy your email down here. All right, I will get you some information. It'll probably be coming from our technical sales and service manager. What is the price difference between the wall mount and the pedestal unit? Does the wall mount have Ethernet capabilities? Let's see, Jaden, as far as the price point, I do not know. I would assume, since there's quite a bit less metal and fabrication involved, I would assume that it is a little bit cheaper. However, you would definitely have to ask your sales representative. I don't have the pricing sheets here in front of me, but it should also support Ethernet. All the pigtail connectors on all the PMKs do have a RJ45 8P8C connector on them for Ethernet connectivity. So pricing, reach out if you already have a established relationship with a reseller. Please reach out to them and get that pricing. If not, you can reach out to sales at MZero, that's MZERO.com, sales at MZero.com, and one of our sales representatives will be happy to quote you a price or at least quote you the price difference between those two. I took pictures on the kiosk itself, but now the employees aren't listed. Can I add them somehow? So there is a software update that's about to be released. We're finalizing the packaging of it and the testing, which will allow you to upload photos on the device to the cloud. So that was one of the feature requests when the beta program initially was initially launched, I should say, and several customers reached out saying, well, there's no good way to do it. There's a kind of hard way to get those up there. But once that updates out, it will actually ask you if you would like to upload everyone from your kiosk to the cloud, because once they're in the cloud, then they'll be at any and all attached kiosks. So there's an update coming for that. So Linda, just be on the lookout. Let's see. Can you set it up? Can you set up more than one user to be able to run reports? Yes, we have to do that for you. Please feel free to open up a help desk ticket on that same page where the FAQ, frequently asked questions, and the resources are. There's a Meridian help desk. If you click on that link, you'll actually be taken to a portal, and you can submit a help desk ticket and just say, hey, I would like to add the following people. Be sure to include a username and an email address. Pretty soon, you guys will be able to add them. There's a couple updates that we have to do to the back end of the system before users can add it. But yes, Teresa, go ahead and submit a help desk ticket with who you need and your account information, or who's the master user on your account, and then we will be happy to take care of that for you. Let's see. Can you set up automatic reporting to be sent at a specific time by email? Currently, no, but that has been tossed around, and it's a possibility we will add a scheduling task to allow for the automated reports. Will this webinar be available for us for training purposes? Yes, sir. This will be available. I think it takes about 1.5 to 3 hours for the video to encode and upload, but the same spot on the website, meridiankiosks.com, and you'll see the temperature scanner. You'll see webinars under that, and then you can actually watch webinars of the past. So you can, if you like my quirkiness, you can watch it again. Let's see. Oh, thank you. You're definitely welcome. All right, I'm going to give it a couple more seconds here. Give it about 30 seconds, and if we don't see any questions roll in the next 30, we're going to wrap it up for this Wednesday. So I will, maybe you're typing, maybe you're a slow typer, you're a hunter and a peck. I'm going to let you type for a second. We'll see if we got any more questions. All right, so doesn't look like we have any more questions. I'm going to talk slowly here in case you're still typing. Nope. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your interaction today. As always, it's my pleasure to answer your questions, to get you feeling good and great about the unit that you might already have, or kind of get you down the path to see about, for lack of better words, getting on board the MzeroManage team. We'd love to have you here, and we definitely want to make it easier on you as your interaction with your personnel management kiosk. We want to make it as painless and as quick and expedited process as possible. So without further ado, this is Josh from Meridian Kiosks in regards to MzeroManage Cloud Software and the Personnel Management Kiosk. Everyone have a great rest of your Wednesday. Stay healthy, be safe, and join us next week. Same time, same station, same bat channel. Y'all have a great rest of the afternoon.